We have the end of The Lion King behind me.
Oh my gosh, guys, I am back. I took a little bit of a longer break than I was expecting to, but I have been working nonstop since the new year on some really big, exciting projects that I can't wait to share with you guys. But I wanted my first video of this year to be part 2 of my basement makeover. We last left my basement looking like this. It was cleaned up, but not much to look at. Also, a quick update, I added those brackets to the shelf, and that added a ton of support to this bookshelf. To start this part 2, I gotta take you back in time to the end of November when I installed the floors.
I'm putting in the floors. Well, I am doing it, but I'm tag teaming this project with Jordan. But before we get to actually putting in the floors, a few things need to happen. One, I'm gonna continue to paint all the walls of my basement that don't have paneling on them. I'm gonna paint white. And while I paint, Jordan is gonna be over that way, ripping up some tile that we have that was just like by the door. But I don't want the tile, I want nothing but the vinyl flooring that we got in this room. So it's flooring time.
If you followed along in my furniture flipping adventures, you may remember that I started this project while I was trying to keep up furniture flipping at the same time. And that quickly presented itself as, impossible to do both and be a functioning human. And the floors had to happen when they did because this was the week before Thanksgiving. And for Thanksgiving, I had 7 adults and 4 children coming to stay at my house. So we had to get the floors done so that we could actually have that many people stay at our house. And that meant we were definitely on a time crunch to get these floors done. So I got to work painting the rest of this basement white. I thought this would really brighten up the space since this is a basement and there's not a ton of natural light. We do have windows and it is an exposed basement, but still not that much light gets down here. And the main reason for painting these walls white is we're not gonna have a TV down here. We are going to be putting in a projector. And I didn't want to really do a projector screen. I just wanted it to project against a white wall so that when it's off, it's discreet and out of the way. I'm personally not a huge fan of really large TVs. I find them to be a little tacky. Sorry, Dad. And while I painted, Jordan got to work ripping up all of the tile. And can I just say, for being in my video, he understood the assignment of what to wear. This video is proudly sponsored by overalls. And this may seem a bit obvious, but when you're working on floors, you have to have everything off of the floors, which is a huge pain. I had to move everything out of our basement and find places around our house to put it, which made our house a disaster. And I was furniture flipping at the same time, so I also had all this extra furniture just laying around, which added to the chaos. And because this is an older house, this is an older cement slab, and there was a lot more prep that went into this than I thought. All the imperfections in the cement had to be cleaned up before we could lay down the floors, and while Jordan cleaned up all the cement, I cleaned. There was like 50 years of dust in this basement, so I cleaned up as much as I possibly could to make our basement feel cleaner and also make our whole house feel as clean as possible. But this cleaning right here was just the beginning.
Okay, I might have lied yesterday and said, it was time to put the floors in. Prepping last night took a lot longer than I was anticipating, so now today's the day we're putting the floors in. It's like already pretty late at night, but I have to wait for Jordan to get home to work on these floors. So now we're gonna start. Let's go.
Oh yes, there she is, cleaning some more. I feel like I need to start a cleaning count for this video. I think we're at the 3rd clip already. So we had to lay down this plastic for a moisture barrier since we were starting with a concrete floor. If you don't start with a concrete floor, you don't have to do this, but this was just one more additional thing to add to the prep of this floor. And once we got this first piece of plastic down and kind of sorted out, this little impatient Patty right here just started going for it. I just started laying down floors. And if you can't really tell, I didn't really know what I was doing, but I was following the instructions. It said to start in the upper left-hand corner of whatever room you're doing, so I did that, but you'll soon find out we didn't get very far this night.
So, third time's the charm, right? Right. Okay, hopefully tonight, hopefully we can start actually making some progress. That would be nice. By the time we got this plastic mat actually down and ready to go, we were hitting like roughly midnight, and both Jordan and I were super tired, and the fact that we both have colds isn't helping. But we started to lay this down and we just didn't have a good feeling about it, so we kind of stopped for the night. And Jordan woke up and realized that ripping the baseboards off is going to be the best plan of attack to get the cleanest installment of these floors. So we are going to rip the baseboards off, and hopefully that doesn't take too long so that we can actually get to installing these floors tonight. Even Clyde would just like some floors down here.
So I completely forgot to mention our original plan. When you lay down flooring, you can't have the flooring butt up right against a wall. You need to leave a gap so that with hot and cold temperatures, the floors can expand and contract. I'm not really sure science. And most people remove the baseboards so that when they put the baseboards back on, this covers up the gap between the wall and where the flooring starts. But our original plan was to leave the baseboards on and then use quarter rounds to cover up that gap, but this ended up complicating things, and that's when Jordan decided we should just take the time and remove the baseboards. And good thing we did, because when we removed the baseboards, we discovered old pieces of what we think is the original carpeting that was down in the basement, and this stuff was super gross and really hard to get up, but I'm glad we took the time to rip all of this up and clean it up, because I'm pretty sure the basement wouldn't feel as clean as it does now had we not taken the time to do this. So this definitely ended up being worth it, even though this took a full other night of work and we didn't get to laying down the floors.
I feel like at this point I'm just kind of jinxing myself when I say today's the day for floors. So we started this process on, I think, Tuesday. It's now Saturday, and it still looks like this down here. We are actually, everything is prepped and ready to go to actually put down these floors. I'm a little sleepy because I had to wake up at 4 and go do some hair and makeup. So I'm pretty tired, but the floors have to happen. So no sleeping for Miley.
So Jordan got to work laying down all the floors while I supervised. I let Jordan take the lead on this project because he is not an impatient Patty. He is more of a nitpicky Nate. And when it comes to flooring, you have to be nitpicky and patient, so it was definitely better for him to take the lead on this project. And it was definitely a slow start because you want the first few rows of flooring to be perfect, because if they're off by the littlest bit, it throws the rest of the flooring off. And Jordan had to get the hang of snapping the pieces of flooring together, and I had to figure out what the heck I could do to help this process go smoother. And I quickly fell into my role. So within a pack of vinyl flooring, there are repeat designs, so you don't want to have the same designs right next to each other. You need to spread them out so that it looks more natural. So I became the prepper. I would organize all of the flooring and pick out the next piece. So if it looks like I'm just standing around while Jordan is doing all of this work, I swear I was doing work. I was making sure that the patterns were evenly spread out across the whole room. And once we got a few rows done, we really fell into a groove and things really picked up momentum. Jordan got the hang of snapping all of the pieces of flooring together, and I would clean and organize and get the next pieces ready so that he wouldn't have to think about which piece came next. Also, our children were incredibly helpful as well. They have such great work ethics. And once we got closer to the other side of the room, I added another item onto my list of things things I was responsible for, I became the official person to notch out all of the pieces so that they could work around certain elements in the room. And laying the floors down went on for 4 nights. And of course, we also worked the flooring into the bedroom that is down in our basement, but that was just more of the same thing. But I will not spare you guys this special moment.
The final piece. Do-do-do. Boo-boo-boo-boo. Yeah, so it has been a while since I have finished the floors in my basement, and earlier this week I finally got around to popping the baseboards back on the walls, and I did a little bit more painting to get this whole wall over here ready for my next big project. I didn't finish up the baseboards on the wall that's directly behind this camera, but I've got a whole plan for this wall anyway, so it doesn't matter that it's not done. So on the wall over here in this opening that leads to the stairs, I am going to be building and putting up a barn door. And the main reason for putting up this barn door is to create a cat-free area. Ow. They are not going to be happy about this, but I have a lot of friends and family that are allergic to cats, so I thought it would be nice if I ever want them to come and stay here to have a cat-free zone for them. Also, it is going to be nice to have at least one piece of furniture that's not completely torn up by a cat. That's right, I'm talking to you, Murder Mittens. So last night, Jordan and I moved all of the lumber in that I'm going to be using to build this barn door, and I'm ready to get started. So the barn door that I'm making has to be 77 inches wide to cover the opening that is over here. And that is exactly 14 boards across of the 1x6s that I got. And last night I spent some time figuring out exactly how tall I needed to make this door. And I landed at 90.5 inches. And all of these boards are 8 feet long. So I have to go outside and cut these down using my new Christmas present. Okay, my new table saw made it super easy to get the exact same cut over and over again. And now that all the boards are cut down, I am going to use wood glue and a crap ton of pocket holes to put all of these boards together. Okay, I knew this was gonna be a big barn door, but now seeing this in person, I'm realizing just how big this barn door is gonna be. So now that I have all the boards together, I am going to go ahead and add all of the design pieces. And for barn doors, the design pieces aren't just for the aesthetic, they also help brace all of these boards together and give this door more structure. And I was struggling to pick what design I was going to do because there are so many different barn door designs out there, but I decided to just stick with a classic barn door look with 4 squares and big X's in the middle of those squares. So I have some more cuts to make, and currently this is the back of the door, and so the design is going to go on the other side. So I'm going to have Jordan come down and help me get this flipped over so I can start attaching these design pieces. So I have some more cuts to make, but it's like
6 o'clock at night, and of course it's winter, so the sun has already been set for at least a few hours at this point, but I really want to get this done. So I'm gonna bring my table saw in here, make a lot of noise, scare my cats, make a big mess, but it'll be better than being out in the dark and cold. So now I have to make the X's, and I didn't really feel like doing any math to try to figure out what the angles are that I need to cut. So I'm just gonna lay out the boards and mark the angle that I need to cut and call it a day. Is it the lazy way? Slightly, but will it work? Yes, it will. Did my lazy method work? Boom, yes it did. Okay, now I'm gonna get to sanding, and as you saw in my rendering, I am going to be making this barn door black, but I am not painting it black, I am staining it black, so it's different than what I normally do. By staining this black, I'll still be able to see a bit of the wood grain, whereas painting would cover all of that up. So, let's get to staining. Okay, I let the barn door sit overnight, so the stain is nice and dry, so I can flip this thing over and finish this barn door. And if you remember, now the other side is covered in pocket holes, and I of course don't like the look of that. So I'm gonna be taking some wood plugs and plugging up all of the pocket holes so that hopefully you can't see them anymore and it makes it look a lot nicer. So I let all of those little plugs sit for a while so the glue could dry, and now I'm gonna go through and cut them all down. And to speed this along, I'm gonna use my multi-tool. But if you don't have a multi-tool, you can always use a pole saw. You can get these really cheap at any hardware store for 10 to 15 bucks. Oh, I'm too tall. Ow. Ow. Okay, so all of the little plugs are now trimmed down. It looks good. There were 3 holes that the glue hadn't fully set yet, so I have new wood plugs in there. But I think I'm at a point where I can get started staining this side. And this time around, I'm actually going to wear gloves because I forgot to wear them last time. And my hands were just covered in black stain. Okay, so this barn door is done, and now it's just a waiting game until the stain is all dry. But I do have some work I can do while this thing dries, and that is getting the barn door hardware up on the wall. Since this door is really big and pretty heavy, I got 2 pieces of oak wood, which is a much stronger wood, that I'm gonna attach to the wall first to help add more support to the barn door hardware.
And to attach these boards to the wall, I got these super heavy duty self-tapping screws. These are a direct replacement for lag bolts, and they're also the much bigger version of the screws that I used to attach all of the boards together for the barn door. So this is going to add a bunch of support for this barn door. Okay, the rail is up, the barn door is dry. It is now time to get it up on the wall and finish off this project.
And that is it, guys. Aw, I missed saying that. It is really starting to take shape down here, and dare I say, I think we're ready to start getting some furniture down here. I am so happy with how this barn door turned out. It really created the cat-free zone I was looking for. I hope you guys liked this video, and thank you for all the people that have checked in on me over the last month to make sure I was okay. That was so sweet of you all. But I am back, and I will see you guys next week. Bye, guys.